Plastic, plastic everywhere, on my face and in my hair. Plastic, plastic in landfills, growing deeper. What a thrill! Plastic, plastic, will you end? Oh, hey. Aha! Science. You know, plastic and I, we have a lot in common. Plastic is strong, just like me. Plastic is flexible, it bends, just like me. The part where plastic and I differ is this. Plastic, when it's thrown away, it can last hundreds of years in a landfill. Whereas me, I can't hardly make anything last that long. I mean, I usually get ghosted by the third date. All self-deprecating jokes aside, the piling up of plastic is a huge problem. I mean, you've heard about that giant pile of floating plastic and garbage in the middle of the ocean that's about 80,000 tons and is larger than 2 times the state of Texas. That's bad. I mean, one Texas is already way more than enough. And also, that's not good. A lot of fishies are trying to eat that stuff. They can get sick. Sorry, dude. May you rest in peace. I mean, a quick walk to my local creek is going to show you just how bad the garbage and plastic problem is. Gross, see that styrofoam cup? This nasty stuff? Whatever that is. This, lots of plastic garbage. So, how are we going to solve this problem? One of the answers is biodegradable plastics. Now, we have biodegradable plastics. They're made out of polylactic acid, PLA. The problem is, they're really not all that biodegradable. They still stick around for as long as regular plastic. Years. And worse, a lot of these biodegradable plastics, when they break down, they just break down into harmful microplastics. They're really not breaking down to a molecular level. They're just breaking down into smaller pieces of plastic. If you want to learn more about the problem with microplastics, click on the video up here. And the other problem with these biodegradable plastics is you can't even recycle them because they're made differently, and so they'll contaminate all the other recyclable plastics, just like those guys who don't cover their nose with their masks, contaminating everything. But there are solutions, and in a paper published April 21st, 2021, the day before Earth Day, by Christopher DelRe et al. At Berkeley, they describe a way of creating biodegradable plastic that actually biodegrades just in the order of days. But to understand how this works, we need to look at the chemistry of plastics. For as Sun Tzu, the author of The Art of War, says, if you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So, if we get to know our enemy, plastics, and we know ourselves, the chemistry to fight the plastics, then we can create biodegradable plastics and save the earth. See, kids, all those literature classes you take in high school and college pay off. You see, plastics are polymers. Polymers. Poly meaning many, mer meaning mermaids? But they're these repeating linkages, like a chain. So think of polymers as many many mermaids. And these mermaids are all holding hands, creating this giant network that results in this strong material. Now, in real life, they're really not mermaids, they're really organic molecules, but, you know, That's why these plastics are so hard to decompose, because there are these continuous homogeneous networks. So bacteria can't really get in there and break them apart because it's all linked up. It's just like how it's easy to snap one stick, but if you have multiple sticks, it's hard to snap. That's the power of polymer chain. I could have broke it if I wanted to. Acting. Specifically, those polylactic acid plastics, the biodegradable ones, the PLAs, they look like this. So you have an ester group, which is that carbon with the two O's. That is your ester group connect to this other carbon group. So that's our enemy. So now it's time to know ourselves, how we can fight the polymer chain. And that is through lipase. Now, lipase is an enzyme that your pancreas makes, and it's used specifically for the breakdown of fatty molecules. And fatty molecules look a lot like plastics. They're made out of these long hydrocarbon chains, a lot of times with these oxygen ester groups. Remember that PLA, polylactic acid? Lipase, my friend, can break it down. Now, people have known about lipase for a long time. I mean, people aren't dumb, you know. Ah, crap. People have tried sprinkling lipase on these plastics. They've even tried putting the lipase in the very plastic itself. But it just doesn't work. Because when you sprinkle lipase on these plastics, it doesn't really get into it, so it still just takes forever to break down. And when you can put the blobs of lipase in the actual plastic chains, it's still a large blob, and that blob can leach out, and it'll just kind of break down the plastics in certain areas, again creating those nasty microplastics. But what the Berkeley researchers found out is that we need to get small. I'm talking really small. We're talking nano-scale lipase molecule interdispersion in the plastic polymer. I mean, really small. Now I can finally see my bank account. Man, I sure wish that thing would grow. You see, at the nanoscale, the lipase molecules, they don't leach out of the plastic. And they can get to the ends of those chains. They can degrade them, and just like a zipper, open them up and unravel them completely. But it's not all buttercups and rainbows, because lipase molecules are really sensitive. They're proteins. That means they're very dependent on their structure, their shape, as they're all twisted about, and things like heat can change the shape of the molecule, and then it doesn't work anymore. They're really sensitive. Sensitive like me, when an Inside Out Bing Bong is forgotten. I'm not crying, you're crying. And of course, the other thing is, you don't want your lipase molecules to begin breaking down your plastic before you used it for whatever you're going to use it for. It has to be activated. It has to have some sort of on switch. Or else it'd be like this. Wow, Becca, I love these new biodegradable bags. They're great for carrying your groceries because they just biodegrade right from the get-go. Technology. So what they do is they wrap those lipase enzymes in random heteropolymers. Basically, they just wrap them up randomly, and these heteropolymers, what they do is when things start to get wet and hot, they start to move around, positioning the lipase in front of the plastic chain, and then the polymers, which are acting like a shield, fall off, and the lipase enzyme is free to go total Pac-Man on that plastic chain. And so the bag will only begin to decompose when it gets hot enough, and it gets wet enough, just like conditions that you would find at a landfill and not your local grocery store. And if you're shopping at a grocery store that is wet and hot, DM me. Let's get that sorted out. That's not normal. And the researchers found that using these techniques that they can break down plastics in a matter of days versus 500 years for regular plastics, which makes you and the earth want to go, yay! Thank your pancreas for showing us the power of lipase. Thank the researchers at Berkeley for figuring out how to get those lipase wrapped up in random heteropolymers and insert them in nano-sized particles throughout a network of plastic. Thank the people who made plastic in the first place so that we could have these strong, flexible, durable, cheaply made materials. And thank goodness that we're finding a way to make them truly biodegradable and help the earth, because dang it, the earth needs a lot of help, and we're the ones who can do it. And well, until next time, ciao.